You are now tuned into Mixstation Radio Live. The views and opinions of the guests and the hosts you hear on Mixstation Radio Live are not necessarily those of the staff and the management of Mixstation Radio Live, its sponsors, or advertisers.
Hey, I want to start a podcast.
Join the mix.
Can I broadcast to millions all over the world?
Join the mix.
Can I control my own content and share my show?
Join the mix.
Can I promote my product and my event?
Join the mix. Mixstation Radio is a worldwide internet radio station that specializes in video and audio podcasts on all social media platforms. You can download our free app, Mixstation Radio Live. That's MIXX Station Radio Live. We have 2 locations in Tulsa, Maryland, and Eastern Shore, Maryland. With our new service, you can host your own show from home with Mix Mobile. That's MIXX Mobile.
Did you say I can broadcast from home?
Yes, we have a new service called Mix Mobile. We can come to your location or you can log on virtually.
Hold up. That can't be true, man.
Yes, Mixstation can air any show from anywhere in the world, and all you need is a strong internet connection. Also, we have a toll-free 1-800 number.
So you're telling me I can stream on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and all the formats all at the same time and have people calling with comments?
Yes, join the mix. If you want to join the mix, email us at mixstation@gmail.com. Again, mixstation@gmail.com. That's MIXX station@gmail.com. Mixstation is sponsored by...
Hey, if you're not making enough money at your current job and you want more, or you're not happy and want more control of your career, then come over to cybersecurity. Online Security has a 10-week security fundamentals class that helps you get Security Plus certified, develops your resume so you can land an interview, and helps you study for the interview so you can get a job. So what are you waiting for? Go to onlinesecurity.com and sign up for our next Security Plus class. And when you do, don't forget to use our discount code ONLINESECURITY.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Welcome to Diary of a Preacher's Kid. On today, this is Saturday, February 10th. We are back at it, and it is a love weekend. So, in light of Valentine's Day coming on Tuesday, we wanted to talk about love. But before we talk about love, definitely wanted to go back to doing me and my churchy self moment. Being a preacher's kid, we weren't like regular kids. So, me and my churchy self, when we played as kids, we did all the fun games that all the other kids played. You know, kids don't play outside like we used to, you know. But we always played church, didn't we, Tavy?
Yes.
Always. For people, laying people out on the floor. We'd have church. So preacher's kids were known when it's time to go outside and play. We always turned it into church. No matter what game, we always turned it into church. No matter what toy we had, if it's a box, it's square and it's hard, it became a tambourine. You know?
Yes. Yes.
Absolutely. So that is me and my churchy self moment. You agree, or you want to add one?
I agree.
Yeah. We had the
definitely
choir, the
agree.
preacher. Somebody would get slain in the spirit. We'd run and get the blankets and the sheets.
Yes.
I am delivered.
Yes. Yes. We were having deliverance services as children.
Yes.
So
yes.
then after our service was over, we go outside and play red light, green light, all that other stuff. So that is our me and my churchy self moment. So as we prepare for Valentine's Day, we want to talk about love and the different forms of love. And we're going to discuss definitely unconditional love, what that looks like. We're going to talk about the overshadowing love of it all, which is agape love. We'll talk about self-love. That's definitely important. So we'll talk about a few types of love for us all to just break down and discuss. And, you know, hopefully we can get some feedback today. So Octavia, you want to do your duty and give out the call-in number?
Yes, please call in at 1-855-493-6499. Again, 1-855-493-6499. We'd love to hear from you.
Yes, join the. We'd love to talk to you. We'd love to hear feedback from you. We just want to dig in. So let's first start off. We talked about 2 weeks ago having a dominant personality versus a strong personality. So this week, we're going to soften it up and we're going to talk about what love really looks like. What love is a healthy love and what love is a toxic love. And we're going to start off with unconditional love. So one of the definitions for an unconditional love that I'll start off with, it's where you have the goal to accept someone as they are. It's a state of mind, despite how they look, what they do. You just love people just for who they are, okay? And you have a genuine concern for that person's welfare, no matter what, So an unconditional love can show up in every love relationship, be it parental, be it a romantic relationship, be it a friendship love. It's, I want the best for you. I love you as you are. And that's just it. It's no self-benefit. You're not seeking or have your own hidden agenda. What do you think about unconditional love?
Yes, and I'd like to add to that a scripture found in 1 Corinthians 13. And we will start at verse 4. 1 Corinthians 13:4. Charity suffereth long and is kind. Charity envieth not. Charity vaunteth not itself, is not puffed up, does not behave itself unseemly, seeketh not her own, is not easily provoked, thinketh no evil, rejoiceth not in iniquity, but rejoiceth in the truth, beareth all things, believeth all things, hopeth all things, endureth all things. Charity never fails.
That is the best definition of unconditional love. And
1 Corinthians 13:4.
Best definition of love. How many times do we hear that at wedding ceremonies?
Right.
Okay. And with me having a background in psychology, when you study unconditional love, I remember it being taught that if no other times in your life you experience unconditional love, it's when you enter the world and when you leave the world.
Right.
Okay? So when we're talking about love, we want to talk about how we can show love now and show love and not regret it. You know, we were speaking about, you know, losing so many loved ones over the past 2, almost 3 years. And the best thing is 2 of the major losses we've experienced. One in 20 was our great aunt. And then, of course, in 2022, our dad. And the thing that my family and I reflect on, perfect example of unconditional love. My last interaction with both my great aunt and my dad, we told each other we loved each other. And had no clue that either of them would be taken from us. But that's just a thing that you did. After Sunday service, I love you. And I remember telling my aunt, I was like, come here. She was short and just as feisty. I said, come over here and let me squeeze on you. I love you. And the next Sunday, she was gone. With my dad, Daddy, I love you. Making plans. We're going to go back to the gym. We're going to have a family workout day. And we're going to get those legs going and build up your muscles and this and that. And I said, Daddy, I love you. And he said, and I love you right back.
Right.
So that is unconditional love. And that's how God loves us.
Unconditionally. And also, he loves us for who we are. When you talk about unconditional love, it's not conditional based on what I do for you. I expect something either in return or greater. Unconditional love means flawed and all. I love you. And that's sacrificial love.
Yes.
That in spite of your flaws, your needs improvement, when you fall short, when you say and do things you're not supposed to, I still love you. And you also have hope.
That's right.
That no matter what, we will get through this.
And the love of God is what? Agape love.
Right.
The highest level of love there is. It's the purest form of love. It is given, again, right in line with unconditional. It is given without expectations.
Right.
The love of our Father to sacrifice his life for us. Agape love. I love you, and I don't have any expectations.
Right.
I created you, and I love what I created. Might not like the choices that you make, but that never diminishes my love. The highest form of love, no expectations. And what do you think about that? So I'm going to throw it to you while I look at the scripture that I want to get.
Okay, sure.
Agape? Yeah. I'm going to grab it right now because it's the no greater love. That's the one that I want. I'm going to get that. Now, I feel like I'm preaching or something. Let me find that.
But also to add to what Renee was stating, with the agape love, it means when we love a person despite his or her flaws or shortcomings. Agape love is about giving to others, sacrificing our time, energy, and resources for someone else without expecting anything in return.
Again, this is not a bartering situation. So what I was saying for agape love, when we look at the love of God for his children, and that is John 15:13. Greater love has no one than this, than to lay down one's life for his friends. Agape love. I'm going to lay down my life for you. Right. That's the highest level of love that you can feel for someone. And I think that's along the lines of a parent for a child. You know, you have a child. No, don't mess with my child. No, you can take me, do what you want to me. but not my child, not my baby, you know?
Yep. Selfless love.
Selfless. So agape and unconditional. That is not on the opposite side, conditional love is the toxic one. That is control. We talked about the different personalities.
Right.
If you don't do what I want you to do when I want you to do it, I am going to withhold my love from you.
Right.
Hold on, wait a minute.
That's what it
just
is.
1 minute.
Yeah. So although people may not say it, their actions may say it. So let's just say you're in a friendship and your friend needs so much from you. And if you don't give it to me, I mean, then this friendship is over. That means you don't care about me. Okay? Conditional love is also intertwined with manipulation. So you'll have someone who is going to oftentimes play the victim. Conditional love. Well, if you love me, you wouldn't want to see me struggle like this. Yet, perhaps your friend has gotten themselves in situations over and over again, and now you've established clear boundaries that, hey, I've helped you before, and you didn't do anything with the help that I provided, and now you're back in the same situation. So the answer is a hard no this time. And then that person may play the victim role. You don't love me, you don't care, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. On the flip side, you could have someone who may have things, money, and they might want to control. Do what I say do. I take care of you. If I do something for you, conditional love, you make me mad, I'm going to throw it up in your face and tell you. Oh, it's like that now? Oh, but don't forget. Remember that time I loaned you money? Oh, you ain't feel that way when I was paying your rent.
Or they simply just ask for it back or take it back.
Right. And then try to make you feel bad. Be like, oh, you can't pay me back though. Bet you can't pay me back. You know, oh, you did what I needed. You were there when, as long as I'm taking care of you.
Yeah.
That mudslinging thing, that's toxic, and that's based on conditions. Okay.
Strings attached.
Strings attached. So totally opposite of agape and unconditional love.
Right.
And those are the ones you want to watch, because you could have someone who wants to control you by doing for you. And then you could have someone at the extreme opposite who always has a handout and wanting you to do for them. And then you don't love me. You don't care. That type of thing. A needy person. That's when you may have a codependent relationship.
Right.
We get along good because you need and I provide. So there's something fulfilling I get by taking care of you. And if you make me mad, I can withdraw my money, my love, my affection, because then it's going to destroy you.
And a love like that won't last.
No, it won't.
It's very temporary because it's based on conditions.
Yep. Conditions and control.
Control, conditions, strings attached. And it's also can be found to be condescending. When you truly love someone, the Bible says, which I don't know the scripture where it's located right now, but love worketh no ill to its neighbor. So I'm not going to do you harm intentionally because I love you. And if I know that you've had a rocky road and I was able to smooth out some of the road, the rockiness that in your life, I'm not there to put you down. I'm there to let you know that we can make it together. Because at the end of the day, just like my father was taken away suddenly, things can change in your life suddenly. You can lose a job. You can get into an accident, don't have a car. You know, something can happen in your marriage, God forbid, with your children, with your health. Things, when we wake up in the morning, we don't know what we're going to be faced with. We don't even know whether we're going to return home or not. So having that unconditional love, it's selfless because you want to see me make it. You want to see me do good. And no matter what, you look at me, I'm flawed, but I love you just for who you are. And know what? Even though we flawed and we need improvement in certain areas, we'll pull through it. We'll work it out. But when you're conditional, it's also selfishness, arrogance.
Yep.
And no one wants, when you're down and out, no one wants that thrown in their face.
No.
So when we love, it's a lot of fake love out here.
Right.
So you got to know the difference between genuine love and the love that is fake.
That's right.
That genuine love, especially I'm married. God's willing, June 26th will be 30 years.
Wow. Congratulations.
30 years. So, and it hasn't always been easy, but again, that agape love, no matter what, by the grace of God, we were able to push through. And I think that's what it is. And it tells that in 1 Corinthians 13, it's long suffering.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what it is, because you're going to suffer some things because of love.
That's right.
It's sacrificial. So you're going to sacrifice sometimes your time, your resources, all of that for love.
For love. I did it for love. And when you're looking at love, it's like the other love that we'll get to is Eros love. That's more of the passionate love, the sexual attraction, the chemistry. You know, you might not really even like a person, but you're attracted to them. And that's where it can be joyful and painful. Okay? So with the Eros love, you have to make sure that the physical attraction is not the only thing that keeps you there. Because when you're dealing with the reality and the stages of just getting along with people, after a while, when, you know, the starry eyes are over
And the
romance, do you like this person? So when it comes to passion, you can really feel passion for a person. You can sleep with a person, but then be totally opposite. Disconnected.
No emotion.
Yeah. How many times have you spoken to people and they're like, outside of the bedroom, there's no connection. Getting to know people. And if I had to connect that with the church and growing up, they really taught the Bible of not fornicating. However, they did not want a couple to tempt themselves by dating for too long without getting married. And what was the infamous quote? It's better to marry than to burn. So you had a lot of people who would get married because
of lust.
And
it wasn't so much of
they
love.
had an Eros love. I'm attracted to you. You know, I want to do it God's way, but right now it's my hormones driving me than us having that connection. And I was younger then, so I don't know where things stood as far as couples counseling and really exploring how compatible I am with this person, other than I don't want to fall into the sin of fornicating. I get married, I have the honeymoon, and now I'm finding out you don't make enough money, your credit's jacked up, you're a mean-spirited person, I don't like your family.
I don't like you.
I don't like you. Right. When the honeymoon is over. So that's the Eros of it all. You know, I am so attracted to you, you know, and those are some things that you can't control. We are all human. We can praise the Lord all day long, but we are still created in human form, mind, will, emotions, and different hormones going on that say, this person is drawing me. but it could just be sexual energy
Right.
that is strong between you.
And see, the sad part, what's really deceiving is that you get this lust and the curiosity, and then you just follow on through with marriage because that's what you want. And you later find out that, hey, this isn't who I'm compatible with.
Right.
I've been deceived because of lust.
Yeah.
Lust. And then you have to realize you're not going to be in the bed and romancing for the rest of your life.
Baby, you gotta come up for air
and live reality.
Yeah.
You gotta go to work.
Yeah.
You gotta deal with now personalities being under one roof. Some may be cleaner and neater than others.
Yeah.
Some may and all of that. The finances. If it goes low, you ready to? That's it.
Right. Right. That's what
You
it
lose
boils
a
down.
job.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's it.
Right. So, and I think dating single people, younger generation, these millennials, I don't know what y'all call dating. Like during my years of college,
Actually dating.
oh my goodness, being on the phone all night,
Yes.
talking to people, getting to know them. That didn't mean that everything worked out, but it was more quality time conversation.
Right.
Now, an entire relationship is based off of texting, sexting,
Yes.
and, just the quality time. People are starting off, their first date is Netflix and chill. And when you're dating and you really want to get to know someone, you have to avoid that intimate time,
Right.
because you don't want that to be the foundation of how you know someone. Date me. Let's do things to help me to get to know what interests you. I want
Right.
you to see what interests me, and then we can discover things together. Let's do things that are going to provoke conversation.
Yes.
Things of that sort. Right now, everything is about sex.
Yes.
Sex does not hold the value that it once held in previous generations. It's not valuable,
Yes.
and to each its own. Okay. But it's not like, girl, just go get yours. You got a lot of one night stands. You got a lot of people online dating just for hookups. That's where it's at. But for me, I'm more quality time. Date me. Let's have a conversation. Get to know me.
Right.
Yeah.
And when my husband and I, before we got married, we actually dated. We went to museums, went to the park, bowling.
Yep.
Just did a lot out to eat, literally. So it wasn't him coming and having Netflix. First of all, I lived with my parents, so I know that wasn't happening
hanging out
anyway.
when
And
the
we
date's
had
over.
a curfew. So
Yes, we did.
And my father, he would walk through, make little noises, so you knew, okay, your time is up.
That's right.
But I really love the standard because my father, he always said, you can't date anyone until I meet them. So
That's right.
he would kind of get look you over, and so many. God is good because he really kept me from making a lot of mistakes and getting emotionally involved with someone, because I later found out the person had been married.
Yeah.
And my father knew by the way the man wore his belt and how he shook his hand.
Yeah.
His belt.
Don't even try it, Mark. We still trying to figure that out, but he called it.
The way his belt.
We still trying to figure
Hold
that
up.
out.
Yeah.
I gotta do a Wilbur appearance.
Yes.
This is me on the side. This is not Wilbur. But his belt?
His
Yes.
belt.
Ah,
He looked at his belt. He said the way he had his pants up in the belt, and he said,
that's
now,
old school. 'Cause
Yeah.
These,
Yeah.
Don't nobody wear belts anymore.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And he literally looked, and that is a spirit of discernment. He shook his hand, And I won't ever forget it. It wasn't even me, but, we all were nosy. If you had a date to come to the house,
everybody,
when they pulled up in the driveway, they here. And it really was.
Yes, looking
Number
all out
one,
the window. What is he driving?
Exactly. Number one, you made it without getting lost, okay?
Right, yes.
So the introductions, and my dad was just as friendly. And Octavia came back after the date.
Yeah.
And we did a lot of talking.
Yeah.
Then we'd all come back together. How was it?
Yeah.
And the whole, and my dad said, you see how he wore his belt?
Yeah.
And I think he said, he was older too.
Yeah, he was older.
Yeah. And he said, and when I shook his hand, I can feel he's married.
Yeah.
We're like, what, Daddy? And sure enough, he said, I'm telling you. He said, ask him.
Yep. And I called him right after my dad said, made sure he heard it. I said, listen, are you married? Because I don't do married men. He said, who told you that?
Mm-hmm.
And my father looked right at me.
Yep.
It was confirmation.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So
the deal's off.
Mm-hmm. No.
But yeah, it's the benefit of just dating.
Yeah.
And sometimes, in my case, I've dated guys and ended up being really good friends with them.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I like you so much, I definitely couldn't be in a relationship with you because we might end up killing each other. But you are cool.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how it is. Like, you are a really cool person. I did that. I had one friend, he was extremely arrogant, but he was nice.
Mm-hmm.
But he just talked about himself all the time.
Yeah.
And he took me out to dinner and we enjoyed ourselves, laughed. And I was like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I said, you're really cool. I said, but I really don't like you. He said, what? I said, because you literally have talked about yourself. And that is a pet peeve of mine. I don't like people who are caught up in themselves. So that went nowhere fast. And even to this day, we'll hit each other up. Hey, how you doing? He's married.
Mm-hmm.
He was married, got divorced, remarried. And we check in. But it was never, ever meant to be.
And mine dealt with being in the church, pastor's daughter.
Mm-hmm.
7 years, this man stayed in the church and he was determined he was going to marry me.
That was harassment.
And I was just as determined he wasn't.
Yeah.
Literally. And he even would talk to the other churches that would visit and say, could you talk to her and tell her that I love her and just tell her so we can get together. And they said, oh, he's so nice.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had to politely let them know I'm not interested. And that's one thing that I'm a firm believer in. I don't believe in stringing people along.
Right.
And people will say, oh, well, we can be friends. We can go out. No, because I know your expectations and I know you're more into me than what I am of you. So I'm not trying to sit up there and have you having some great hope here.
Yeah.
So I would not even date. No, we can't be friends because right now you're not on that level where you can look at me as a friend. But church people can get involved and try to pump stuff up. But you got to know for yourself.
That's right.
And he was nice, but he was not my type.
I believe he gave you an ultimatum also.
Oh, yeah.
Can you believe that? She was never interested in him, and he gave her an ultimatum.
Yeah.
He met someone else and told her, I've been hanging around, waiting, and now I done met somebody else. I'm going to ask you one more time.
Before I say I do, the day before.
Yeah. It was like,
and I said, the answer is still N-O.
Yeah. Like,
You can't handle the truth.
Clearly he couldn't. Like, okay, what would your fiance think, sir? Like, you're
Just
engaged. Yeah, I think it was. Okay. He basically was like, before I do this, you sure you don't want me?
You got 24 hours.
But that speaks volumes.
That does.
Though.
The letter will explode
Yeah.
in 24 hours.
See, he would have been the no-show. I said,
Yeah, like I got this wedding. I can call it all. No. Mm-mm. And that's why you can't let people pick for you. That, again, for me being the single sister, there have been so many people trying to pick for me. And yes, even my family. I love that. I love my family. I love y'all. There you go. And people would come, oh, the baby girl. No matter how old I get, I believe I'll be 60 years old and still be the baby girl. That's perfectly fine. My hashtag is always the bishop's baby girl. But everybody, oh, the youngest daughter is still single. I done had people come from out of state visiting the church. People who would run into my parents and they talk, oh, the Newman family, how they doing? Oh, they doing good. And
but the
I'm
bishop baby's still single.
Yeah, they got one more girl left. And then you start seeing people popping up at the church. Don't know what's going on with me in my life. Don't know if I'm seeing someone. Don't know if I want to get married. Honestly, don't know if I'm gay, straight, anything. They just coming. And then they going to try to say, the Lord sent me here. You a lie. You a lie.
The Lord told me you are for me.
So I've had, why? I'm telling you.
Lord said.
Yeah, so I'm like how people can manipulate things. I'm like, that was a conversation that I was left out.
Or you know what get me?
What's
when
that?
when they make a mistake and they say the Lord told me to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, that one kills me.
Yeah, that is true. I literally, people have come to the church and hung around. I didn't have a 7-year person like Octavia.
It was to the point I didn't like coming to church.
He was a stunt man.
Yes. I'm telling you, it's how people can call things love that are not love, and then other people getting involved and
make it worse.
Yeah,
mine was so bad until I had a little briefcase because I was the administrative assistant. So he gonna say, let me take your bag. I'll take it to the car.
Ran up to you. I got
Coming
it.
right. We're in the middle of the street. I have it.
He was assistant to the assistant.
Look, and our church was on North Avenue then. And she's crossing the street. And they're in the middle of North Avenue.
Playing tug of war.
Let it go. I can't let you carry this bag.
Crazy.
We were too thrilled. So that is, you can't let anyone convince you to be in love. It's just not.
No.
If it's not natural, don't let anyone convince you. And I say that is my motto.
That's crazy.
I don't care how much you hang around my mother or how cool you are with my sisters. They cannot convince me to love you if I have zero interest in you. My no is no. And I'm only going to say it but so many times before I ignore you.
Have you ever had your yeses be the wrong yeses?
Oh, yes, sir. I admit that. Yes, definitely. Where you're like, oh, he presented really well. I got caught up in a few representatives.
Okay.
You click and everything goes well. And then it's like,
left.
Yeah, the representative exits
Yeah.
and the real person shows up.
Yeah. But sometimes it take a long time.
It does. It does. And I will say this. I am not a serial dater. I'm not the best dater.
Gotcha.
I can have friends, but if my interest is in one person, then I'm going to see that through. Like I'll have and I tried it during my college years. Really, it was exhausting. I got sick of seeing the same movie over and over again.
Because it was college.
It was college
Nobody, people still finding themselves
exactly.
in college,
So I was like, this just isn't me. Like, let me just see what's up with this person. And I understand on both ends because I do understand people saying don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Right.
I totally understand that. So as far as dating, I'm very neutral. But I do believe in the stages of dating.
Yes.
The courting, dating. And then when you do find that one, you start courting one person, then you get to the commitment phase with that person to see where it's going. So I don't knock either. But
So how about the time limit? Is there a certain time limit in this thing? You know,
I never.
when you I mean, you could know people for years, but when you really like feel as though that's the one, what is that time limit? Because you don't want to move so quick.
Let me say this. I did not have a time limit in my younger years. Okay. But as I got older and I remained single by choice, I became more conscientious of my time that I'm investing in a person. Okay. So when you're younger, they'll tell you, oh, you don't have to settle down. You got your whole life ahead of you. But it was something about getting to the 30s and the 35 and more that you're like, you know what? I need to see where this is going. Yeah. And I'm big on intentions. So my time is very valuable now than before because I didn't feel like, what's the rush? Now it's just like, I don't want to give you my good years if this is not going anywhere.
And also, as you get older, there's a certain amount of maturity that you have come to. And also, you're looking, okay, I'm into my career. The man or woman, they got to have something going for themselves.
Right.
You know, my father would tell us before Reggie and I got married, make sure he pay his bills.
Right.
You check out his credit. He has a job, a car.
Consistent work.
Consistent. Yeah. He said you got to make sure that he can provide.
You start looking at things differently.
Yeah, he said he got to come to the table with something. And he taught us, even when we were younger, at the age of 16, we had our cars and driving. And my father said, and you will not be chauffeuring a man.
That's right. That was number one.
So we lived out in Carroll County. If we met a guy in the city and they say, hey, we want to hook up, and you thinking you going to go in the city and pick up. No, father said, let him get to that metro.
You will not.
You can pick him up there and drop him right back off there.
And look, we were in the city a lot for church. Sometimes if they wanted to see my sister.
Yeah, to meet y'all at the church.
Guess what? Meet at the church and then drop them off at their house in the church van.
That was our date. The church van.
Yeah.
So y'all had the big old 14 passenger.
Yes. So I think about those things. Again, it has changed when you're older and single versus younger. I was not into, and we were taught, you don't want to get caught up with a young guy who got all these kids and baby mamas. So in college, we were turned off. We would turn a guy down just if they said they had a kid.
Yeah.
Be it good or bad, or you put them in the friend zone because we didn't want no baby mama drama.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
and that's a preference to each its own.
And I'm getting ready to say, you know what? But I ended up dating someone who did have a child, and he was a very nice guy.
But the child was bad.
Yeah, some people run into that. Yeah,
I didn't run into that, but nice. And, he was just a young father. So, we may have missed out on some nice guys. Some guys we became very good friends with. But to each his own again. And we had different household teachings. And that's what we held out on. So it was a lot of things. But the one thing I do appreciate being daughters, again, my parents had 4 girls. My dad sat down and talked to us. And right up until he took his last breath, I was still talking to my dad about relationships and getting relationship advice. And I just really, really appreciated that. And all right, this is what you want to do. And I honor him because he was realistic. He wasn't super holy and self-righteous and all of that. He gave real life advice. he'd always say, pray about it, but I'm going to tell you one thing about a man, baby. And he'd start talking. Said, when you're dating older, don't you think for 1 minute a man does not already know his intentions for you.
Right.
So he's not going to sit up here. I don't know. He's just trying to buy time because a man knows what he wants in a woman. And he knows if that woman is you. So it's certain things that I just hold on to. That's one I'm thankful for. And when you just talk about love, we can't leave out self-love.
Right.
And self-love is having your own self-respect, your own boundaries. This is what I will tolerate. This is what I won't tolerate. And that's going to look differently for everyone. What is self-love? I can't be with nobody who's going to be smothering me. Self-love, you cheat, that's it. Some people have their deal breakers because, again, we're all bringing our childhood into relationships with us. So what I may be able to tolerate, the next one might not be.
Right.
So that's where you get into, I'll never let anybody treat me like this because I saw this or I experienced this. So don't enter any relationship until you have mastered self-love.
Yes, that's the truth.
Yeah.
And
That's
don't
the truth.
lose who you are.
Don't lose who you are.
When they get into relationships where it's toxic, controlling, they lose who they are.
Yeah.
Because they think this is love. I sacrifice and I want to say this, but I can't. Because then now you're dealing with a narcissistic person who wants to control everything. When you go to defend yourself, they become the victim.
And it becomes an argument just when you share your own thoughts and opinions. Don't feel as though, and that's something that you have to work out with yourself. If I speak up or speak on how I truly feel, this person is going to walk away from me.
Yeah.
So sometimes people become silent because they don't want to feel rejected or abandoned. And that's the whole thing with self-love. Like, no, I have to stand in my truth and I can't let anybody rob me of my voice.
You can't, because then you'll find yourself in an abusive relationship. And the person then takes advantage of you, take you for granted, and you're miserable. You're stressed out. And one thing with me, if you are fighting like cats and dogs every day,
Run.
Run. Every day. I mean, that is it's just overbearing.
Right.
Every day you gotta fight, because before you know it, you stressed out, and if you're not careful, it becomes physical.
What was that saying? From 5 Heartbeats? The man was dating a woman who was flirtatious. He said, I got to fight every night to prove my love. And he got to get in fights, you know. But when it gets like that, or someone, again, when you speak up, they criticize and condemn the smallest idea. Oh, I like that. What you like that for? Those are little things you got to watch out for. If you have somebody who's always condemning what you say, how you feel, your opinions, and making theirs back, it makes more sense to do it this way.
Right.
And you find yourself steadily giving in. If you're constantly dealing with someone on any level, and you're like, I really don't like it, but I don't feel like hearing their mouth, so I'm just going to give in.
And give in.
And then some people might say, I'm just trying to keep the peace. And it's that same person who will become explosive.
And dominate and control.
Yeah.
So to me, it's okay to agree to disagree and not lose your voice and who you are. If you, and you know, another thing I want to indicate, most people who are narcissists and controllers, they then want you to be pulled away from your family. Then you become estranged. They want you all by themselves, and nobody hear of you. they are just
making you feel like you have to choose.
Yeah, you got to be careful because it's a lot of people who have mental health issues, and they live this life that if I can't have you, nobody else can, and you just got to be careful. And it's also good to see how they react, how they respond when they're angry.
Yep. You need
Always.
to know a person.
Let me check
all
you out.
seasons.
So let's go on that. Do you test them?
Yep.
So what test do you do?
What do you? Okay, so
That's good.
So this is one for me. I remember I wanted to see if the person had any issues with anger. So I showed a whole bunch of pictures from vacation, and there were guys who had vacation with us as well, and just flipping through. And I recall not saying that males had gone. So he's flipping through, looking at pictures, and there are some pictures on the beach with, these guys. You ain't tell me guys went. I thought it was a girls' trip. I was like, well, it wasn't my birthday trip, but hey, we had a great time. Well, who's this? Well, what's his story? I don't mind if you ask questions, but then I wanted to see afterwards if it was a trust thing. Do you believe me? Am I trustworthy? So that was one of the things. Another part is see how he responds to other situations in life. So if he gets upset at work, how does he handle his anger? Issues within his family. I also say it's good to get to know the family and find out what they say.
Parent, especially the parent, the mom and the dad.
Yeah. And it's just like, ooh, child, whatever they say, it's important as well. But do little things. Sometimes, and I will admit, sometimes I wouldn't be available. I think everybody should do that.
Yes.
You
don't have to pick up the phone or text right away.
And see how that is. Yeah.
Yeah, do they blow you up every second? Why haven't you answered me?
Right.
I'm on my way over.
And I remember this relationship panel I watched, and it was with the Jakes sisters, and one of them was about to get married. It was some years ago, and she told her sister that she was getting married, and the sister sat and said, "Now, is he the one? Yes. Do you love him? Yes." And she said, "Now, if this man never changes, are you okay with it?" So that doesn't mean I don't like this, that. No one is going to be 100%.
No.
But are you okay with him being the way he is forever? Can you deal with this? Because marriage is not going to heal things.
No.
If anything, you're going to see it magnified.
Yes.
So I look at things like that. Don't marry someone's potential. Oh, he's just upset. It'll blow over.
Or thinking you can change people.
Right. And even looking at how much they drink.
Yeah.
You see?
Smoke.
Lifestyle.
Go out.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is your coping mechanisms? That's another thing you observe. Anger, how do they deal with stress? If
Do
you
they take it out on you?
Right. These are things that you got to sit back and observe. And keep in mind, too, they should be looking at you as well.
And the other thing, do they pay their bills on time, or are they trying to flaunt and look big, and gas and electric cut off, phone cut off, car about to be repossessed? You gotta know what you dealing with.
We ain't gonna even talk about how people can present themselves on social media.
Oh my goodness.
Because I done talked to people in marriages,
Everything
relationships,
fly.
all these beautiful photo shoots
They just
going
smiling.
on,
Oh,
name
so
brand
happy.
stuff. And I've talked to
Miserable.
wives and girlfriends. They said, "You see when that picture was taken? Yeah. When I got home, my lights were off because he wasn't paying the bills. But it's a photo shoot.
Yeah.
You see that? What? That picture right there, in that same month that he took that picture, we were evicted. Stuff like that. Just look at things of that nature. And I have other girlfriends, when they start dating, go out on a date, I'm going to check you out on the court search thing. You got any domestic violence stuff going on? You got a DUI, a DWI?
Gotta research them. You better research them.
Yeah, because you don't know. We got a caller. Okay.
Y'all know who it is. Mr. Sciatica himself.
Oh, Lord. He got something to say.
Go ahead, he in.
Hello there.
Hi.
Hello, family. How are y'all doing?
Good. We miss you, but we're loving Mark, too.
They got the real producer. The real producers in the building. The real producers in the building.
We know this would spark you to have some input.
Yes. You knew I would. To talk about love. So what was the question before? What was the question Mother asked?
Oh, how do you test a person? We were saying that we should be able, my dad was saying, you should be able to see a guy when he's angry, different stages, and how he reacts to things. How he handles stress. And Mark said, then do you test it? And we said, yes.
Yes. I think most women do test the man. Very rarely a man is not testing a woman. You know, sometimes you already know pretty much what a woman is about, probably all for the first time, because you didn't, before, you know, especially with me, before I even pursue a woman, I pretty much already know what the woman is about. Mm-hmm. Most likely, I think people need to investigate more in their relationships to understand the whole deal. You know, before I even go out and say, hey, I want to do this, I then look at her at least a month.
Okay.
At least for months. You know, and say, oh, okay, that's what you do. Oh, okay, that's what you do. And I think in the reality of things, I think that if people do that before they go, it's like buying a car. You know, sorry to put it out related to the car, but when you got to get a car, you pretty much know the specs of it. You know how much gas mileage you're going to get out of it. You know, we got to do. If you go to the used car lot, you already know. You know, I took my brother to get my used car. You know what I'm saying? So he already knew what used car, because that's what he did. Right. So I hook up with people and say, hey, how that person is. I ask them little questions, you know, and like with me and my wife, Bonda, I knew her from high school. So I had years and years meeting her family. She didn't met my family. She didn't see Marcus grow up. You know, stuff like that. So it's like
I seen her grow up.
Oh yeah.
I just want you to know that.
So when you look at stuff like that, I think that we need to do more investigating, and before we even make that leap, especially for a man. Because like when you check out his credit, you want to know if he got a nice job and all that, and you know, and just like with a woman, you know, I don't want to be with a woman that spends all the time. You know, because now you taking my money, and I don't have no money. So let's.
You are the broke one. Is that true or false?
But the thing about it, in order to deal with what, especially in money, finances, do the person really love you? Do they love you for your money or for what you are?
Right.
You know, like you said, I love the comment where you say, if you can't love the person like they are now and they don't not gonna change, then that's what you need to go with.
Right.
And that's the thing. Like God loves us.
Right.
You know, but he knows the end. And so what he does is he tests us to get us to be better, to get closer to him. And that's what a relationship is, you know, especially when you get married. It's about learning each other every day, trying to be better communication, better not eating habits, better so we can live longer. Amen. Better with our kids, better with our relations with our parents and our brothers and our sisters, you know. And so, this is a lovely conversation. I've been enjoying it, you know, in my bed looking at y'all. So,
Yay!
The real producer.
But I just love y'all. Thank y'all for talking about this love thing.
Thank you. Get better.
Okay. I guess I will. Bye.
And that's a good topic. I know we're running out of time, but while we're talking about relationships, when is the appropriate time to start looking at finances and start discussing salary and income? And what I really want to do, just to give you all a spoiler alert, I'm going to bring some single males, some single females in here, and we're going to talk about dating, because some people feel like, you know, if I'm just dating you and getting to know you, you shouldn't be asking me how much I make right off the bat. You know, things of that nature. At what point do you start talking finances? Is it when you feel like we're exclusive and this is going somewhere? Or do you want to know from the jump? Some people feel like, I don't date nobody if they make under 6 figures. I don't date nobody 80.
And that's why they buy that.
Right. You know, and then you got a lot of people who will then start lying to you.
Yeah.
Okay. So, she into money. Okay. I can put up these facades, you know. So it's
out
like
credit card.
Yeah. It's like time frames, like Mark was saying. What time frame? How much time do you invest? So I want to get more into that. But just to sum up, love, we talked about unconditional love.
Yes.
We talked about conditional love. We talked about the highest form of love that encompasses unconditional love, which is agape love.
Right.
And that's the love that God, our Father, has towards us. We talked about eros love, which is the romantic, sexual attraction, passion, that type of love. The other love that we didn't, we did get to self-love. We did cover self-love, knowing what makes you feel good, feel safe, comfortable, not pushing the envelope and your boundaries. So we just want to encourage everyone to love and understand what healthy love really looks like. Octavia said, not losing yourself. Not losing your voice, not having a fear of it's going to be an argument if I simply speak up.
And you just want to make sure with love that it's not something that you say right away. People take that word, and I think right away they will start, love you. And you really don't know the person. Right now, you're just in the beginning stage of really liking and getting to know. So before you say that, make sure you really mean it. It's how you feel. Before I got married, my husband and I dated for 3 or 4 years. And I got to know him, dating him, the families, our parents. Once he asked me to marry him, the families got together. So it's a process, and you watch, you observe, and you have to be fully committed. Are we willing to go all the way? I think if you see someone's futuristic and you all plan to take it further into marriage, then you definitely need to sit down and go over credit, job, what do you want children or don't you? Okay.
Blending of
your
families.
The blending of families, because you do have some blended families. Now you're going to be dealing with your in-laws and the likes and dislikes. It's a lot that goes with it. But if you as a couple have it together, you can't have everybody dictating to you and telling you what to do and pulling you away, because it will not work. It takes 2 people to work together and push through. That is what love is. It's sacrificial. It's unconditional. We love each other, flawed and all, needs improvement through the ups and downs, bad choices, decision, words. I still love you. We're going to get through it.
Yeah. And, the other toxic love we talked about was codependent relationships, where you're needing something from someone. You needing me makes me feel important, you know, codependent. And enabling love.
Right.
So you're enabling someone's poor habits.
Right.
but
Covering
because
it up.
I love you, I'm going to keep on, you know. So those are the things. And we want to encourage healthy love.
Healthy.
And we want to thank you all for tuning in. It has been a true blessing. We really do enjoy this, and we are happy to have Mark produce for us today.
The real producer.
The real producer. It has been an absolute blessing. The Nichols brothers, they are real brothers, not just to each other, but we have embraced them as well. So we thank them for this opportunity.
Sure do.
And Lord's willing, we'll be back here in 2 weeks. You all take care, be blessed, and remember, learn healthy love. Bye-bye.
You are now tuned into Mixstation Radio Live. The views and the opinions of the guests and the hosts you hear on Mixstation Radio Live are not